So one of the things I see a lot with my patients is that they can't move their pelvises very well. And that's not hugely surprising, because if you spend all day standing or sitting, basically your pelvis is always moving in one direction, but your pelvis should be able to move in circles. So what we're going to try and do now is to restore some metabolism to the pelvic joints, the sacroiliac joint at the back, the pubic symphysis at the front. If we can get some movement going through there, we will keep our pelvises happier and more flexible. So what we're going to start with is a pelvic tilt. Now, I've got another video on my YouTube channel that you can watch if this is a struggle, and it's basically getting you to do a pelvic tilt lying on your back with your knees bent. But let's assume that you can do that. So let's do it standing up. So you're going to start with your weight evenly over both feet, knees nice and soft, and we're going to think about having a skewer going through your pelvis, and that's your pivot point. So you're going to tuck if you imagine you've got headlights on your butt, you're going to tuck your headlights under, tilt them down, and then you're going to tilt them back up again. Tilt them under, tilt them back up. And you can see that my fingertips aren't moving because everything is just moving around that axis. So I'm tilting under, tilting back, tilting under, tilting back, and that's a pelvic tilt. And if your back muscles, and this is something I see a lot, people whose back muscles are too tight, they really get stuck in that sort of duck position where they're waving their tail feather the whole time, but they really can't tuck under. So that is a really important movement to be able to do, because when you're stuck in that position, the lower back muscles can get really compressed, and so can the lower back joints. So tuck under, tuck back, tuck under, tuck back. It's important to be able to do that movement. The other movement that's important so that you can circle your pelvis properly is a few years ago I did burlesque classes. They were brilliant fun, but one of the movements was called the bump. And the bump is basically bumping somebody out of the way with your butt. And that is effectively a pelvic lateral tilt of the pelvis is a bump. So we're going to go for a bumpity bumpity bump. So we're going to try and bump somebody out of the way with your left butt cheek, and then bump somebody out the way with your right butt cheek. Now, what you can see, the reason I've got my hands here is that I'm only moving at the pelvis, or at least the movement is being initiated by the pelvis, and my rib cage is not moving. What I see an awful lot of when I teach this exercise is people doing just a side bend, or just a side bend in fact, so that all that's moving is their upper body. I don't want the upper body to move, just the lower body. So taking your hips and your pelvis side to side, just like that. So you can keep your hands on your rib cage if that helps you, or gradually just be able to go side to side. And then from there, we've got the four main positions of the hula. So you've got the tucking under, then you've got the bump to the right, tucking back, and the bump to the left. And so what I want you to do is to put those together until you can get your pelvis working in a big circle, and you're really feeling that you're working around all the corners. So we're going over to the right, right back, back, left, left front, front, right front, and right. So we're really going around all the points of the compass, and everything, as you can see, is really coming from the pelvis. So it's not a full body movement. It is not your head moving, head is staying still while your pelvis is moving in a circle, and then coming back the other way. So front, front left, bump left, left back, back, right back, bump right, right front, and front. So we're working that whole circle, and you can see that's all coming from the pelvis. So this is how people do a hula hoop. It is just working around in that circle and then round in the circle the other way. But that's one of the things that helps to keep your pelvis healthy. So that is a pelvic hula. Enjoy.